Hello, Greensboro, and welcome back to the podcast that is not my podcast. It's Denise Roth's podcast, but I get to be the guest
I think
host.
that's the whole name.
The podcast is not my podcast.
It's Denise Roth's podcast.
It's Denise Roth's podcast.
Full name.
I need the whole thing in there. But for real, it is Denise's podcast. And she's here with me.
Yes.
Hello, welcome again.
Thank you. Thanks for coming back.
No, I'm glad you came back. It
Yes.
would no
That's a
longer
good
be the
point.
same podcast.
You'd have to
without
change
you.
the name.
And that would be disastrous because it took us so long to come up with it the first time.
Fair.
Okay, I got to bring it back.
Yeah,
Let's be serious.
And you probably need to get closer to the microphone.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Ah, there you go.
Go back to the T-Mobile days.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Mm.
Well, welcome
Thank
again.
you. Yes.
Let's talk about some real things that
Okay.
relate to Greensboro.
Yes.
Yes. And I think actually today I'd like to start with something that you said that was interesting to me. You mentioned a strategic roadmap,
Yes.
or maybe you called it a playbook. Is it a roadmap or is it a playbook?
It is
Or
both.
whatever it is.
It can
whatever,
be.
You can put the time into crafting it the way we did the title of our podcast.
right.
But if you'll clarify for me what that is and what it involves.
So this is a term of art. It's something we use in the business on a regular basis as we're thinking strategically about as we're building a concept and how do we go from concept to reality. And it has very practical application. You know, if you think of if you're in a football game and you have a playbook, right? And you know who's on offense and defense, and you have plays that you're going to run. Some of them are going to work, some of them won't. And then you're going to regroup and do it over again. Or a roadmap, right? If you're going to go on a trip, well, back in the day when we take the AAA, road trip
I
tick.
think we've already aged ourselves so much.
I know. This is another point. You have a roadmap. But the point is that you think about where you're wanting to go. Where do you want to end up in 5 years in this case? What does success look like? And how are you going to get there? What are the resources you need? What are the people you need? What is it that you already have in your bank, or in your pocket, or the strength you already have on your team? What is it that you're missing that you need to add to? That's the roadmap. That's the playbook. The playbook is about understanding where you stand, where's your strength, what's missing, and how you're going to add to it in order to be successful. But most importantly, making sure the whole team understands what success looks like and that you've defined it together and you've been clear about we are going to be this in our future. And in order to get there, we're going to take these steps. We're going to move these pieces. We're going to make these choices. And some of them will be hard and some of them will be more successful than others. But we're going to do it because that is what leadership looks like. That's what policy decisions look like. And that is the only thing that moves communities forward.
Okay, so the analogy is helping.
Okay, there you go.
But is it how is that different than what people have done before? I mean, do you feel like people have done that before, or do you feel like it's a different moment?
It's Greensboro has absolutely done it before, and one of the things that have attracted me to this region is the resiliency of the people. When I moved here in 2004, it was on the heels of the industry changing over from textile jobs going to China, and this industry,
Cone Mills,
yes,
right.
all of that. And we were working in Greensboro, we were working in Rockingham County, in the leadership of this community that was private, public sector, education, university, all sat down and said, what does the future of Greensboro look like? How do we get there most successfully? How do we make sure that everyone is on board? And then we take those steps. And we're at that same moment. We've had those other moments in between. That's how we built the mega site, right? That's how we built the Tanger Center. But what's most important and gigantic about this moment is that it does have implications and possibilities across our community for every social economic status of people, from the entrepreneur to the skills-based laborer, to the researcher and the innovator. All of those, this is a moment in which all boats rise. but it's only by thinking critically about how we are going to make that transformation in our community in a way that is going to be impactful for everyone across the board.
And so, how do you build a place? I mean, that it feels really ambitious. It also feels a little overwhelming to someone like me. So, how do
Yeah.
you go about doing that and bringing? I mean, I feel like there's momentum happening in the city, right? There's
Yes.
Jet Zero and things like that. And
Yes.
um, but how do you get from A to B on
Yeah.
your roadmap or
Yes.
or rather your playbook?
Yes. Well, that's the thing is how do you get from A to B, right? We're having the ribbon cuttings. We're doing the speeches. It's all a great moment. It's a lot of great energy. And how do we take that energy and make sure that we are advancing and that we're moving ahead? And that's it. And you take it one step at a time. You start with where your community is and what your community has been saying. We need X to be successful, and we have communities across our city that have said that and have been looking for various opportunities. It's you sit down and you really make a plan, or you look at, we have a baseline of concepts and plans that we've put together as a community. We have affordable housing plan. We have a 10,000 road to 10,000 housing units. We have a housing green GSO. We have a 2030 plan. We have the plans that Action Greensboro has put together in terms of just sort of where does our community stand today, and the indicators there. So we have a good vision of who we are. What are the missing pieces to that? I would venture to say, what can we look like in the future? What do other communities look like that have been at this moment, and how have they made that transition? What worked? What didn't work?
Which you can draw from your experience that
Yeah.
you've had,
Yeah.
working as a consultant.
Yes. Yes, and working with other mayors and communities across the country, and visiting with them and understanding them, but also pulling from expertise in those, from colleagues across the country that have helped guide communities through these efforts as well. So it is overwhelming. It's a big concept, but that's why it's so important for us to dig in. That's why I'm running.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running because I can see this moment very clearly, and it's not just a moment that is that is sort of afar. It's my home. It is my son's future. It is my mom that is living here. It's about all of us. And so I can't think of a better place for me to be than to be running for this seat at this moment, to add everything I can to make sure this community is successful. My home is as successful as possible.
Well, I think the other thing that maybe I can say that you can't say as much about yourself is
I can say it. It just may not sound as great coming from you.
well,
So
I mean,
you say it.
because people don't like to brag about themselves, obviously, and you're not a braggy person.
No.
But I think that bringing people. You have always been great. I mean, at the personal or the professional level, of really bringing people together, and the right people, a diverse group of people, right? Like when I've been to parties at your house, for example, it's people that I would never have run into, even though Greensboro is not that huge of a town. But
Yeah.
it's a really cross section of a bunch of different, and it's people, from I don't know, nonprofit sector, and there's people from all different economic levels and backgrounds and interests, and we're eating biryani and hanging out with our kids in a cul-de-sac or whatever. And so, I think that's at a personal level, but
Yeah.
I think you bring that same vibe to your professional life, right? Is like, where are the gaps? Who is not at the table having
Yes.
taking part in a conversation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for every experience I've had, personal and professional, it's made richer by that perspective. The young and the wisdom, mixing together, the private and the public, the tenacity of what you have in the private sector of being really ambitious and fast and innovative, in the public sector that is really creative and thoughtful and full perspective, and bringing those spaces together in the university perspective that really thinks deep and runs long. And then you pair that with the young person and the person that's been in the work sector for a long time, and you really get creative concepts and ideas. And those are the places where I think we as a people, and so for us as a community, really will thrive. And Greensboro it holds a special place for me because of how eclectic it is. It has its roots in the Center movement with the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, and the number one HBCU in the country, but also the 7 colleges and universities, the Quakers, and in the UNC system that has like a full presence in our community with UNCG, your home space. I mean, all of these efforts are a part of our community, and I would love the opportunity to be in a place again to bring all of those voices and perspectives to the table, and in our industry. One of the things you had talked about earlier was how Greensboro is the intersector. And I don't know if people know this, but one of the joys for me living here was learning how I found a map from the 1920s, and it showed railroads coming from the Northeast into Greensboro. And that was why it was the gateway city. It was where you brought your textiles and your goods that were unfinished, and you put them together here in Greensboro, and then they went out for distribution, whether to the coast or to the other parts of the Southeast. And we are still that today. We are the melting pot of people meeting up and then influencing the spaces around us. So
well,
it's
we've got
great
like
to be a
the
part of it.
aviation sector starting in its nascent stages of growth here too, right? And
Oh
so
my gosh.
again, like
Don't start me nerding out on that.
Oh Lord, people, she will nerd out.
I will. I mean, just okay. Can I just say one thing?
One.
One.
I'm gonna time it.
Okay. Stay with me, people. So if you want to think about global competitiveness in the U.S.,
Yeah, nerding out. Here we go.
roads run through Greensboro. I swear to you,
Including airways, you mean?
Well, I'm talking about mobility. Just the innovation of mobility, whether it's the autonomous vehicle, if it's the electric vehicle, it's supersonic airways, it's the microchip development, it's the U.S. being competitive with China. Greensboro is part of ground zero of that play. I'm putting it out there.
I mean, I see what you're saying. And basically, without name dropping, you just name checked a lot of the things that are, right?
Yes.
The Toyota battery and the Jet Zeros and the Honda Jets.
Yes. That's
so
what
it's the building blocks, and it's the starting point
Boom, supersonic.
for your... Or it's the plays in the playbook, maybe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And what's happening here is not accidental. And one of the things I did before, as I've been consulting, was consulted with the last Secretary of Commerce on the Microchip Chip and Science Act. And we were working on how you apply that legislation to the practical aspects of building a chip plant in the U.S. and what it would take to get industry there and what it would mean from a workforce standpoint, et cetera, et cetera. And we were living that out today. But when you look at that map and you think about the concept of how you're going to grow in the U.S. and actually bring industry here, Greensboro, North Carolina has the people, it has the space, it has the skill set development, but it also has the innovation in the technology, in the research. So there's multiple levels in which we compete well.
And you also forgot the quality of life.
Oh, let's not even start with the quality of life.
How awesome is Greensboro?
It's so great. It's like 2 hours from everywhere. It's like the epicenter of, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that just adds a contextual piece to all of it.
It does. It's why I keep telling people. People have learned by knowing me. They're
the
like,
word's getting out.
All roads lead through Greensboro. That's what my staff used to say. I'm like, yes, now you know.
Well, that's what brought you back.
The more you know. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
The opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I think one question people will ask is this going to raise my taxes, right? Like, this all sounds good, So first of all, do you have a is this pre-baked? Have you already written out the map?
No.
Okay.
No. And actually, I think Greensboro is writing the map itself right now. I think the key part is for us to bring the pieces together. But it's, I think how we resource this and how we make it happen is a fair question. Now, the strategy itself in developing it, that's not really expensive. The question is the things that we need to do to get ready in making sure our workforce and our people and our schools and all of those things are ready. And it's about making choices. And first, it starts internally, right? So, from a government standpoint, we have to make sure that our government's running efficiently and that we are operating in a way that is very laser focused on the delivery of the public of Greensboro. And then spanning out from there, it's as we're looking at our budget over the multiple years going forward, how we're making choices about where we're putting money to invest in what the future looks like. In making decisions around where that's going to be. I think we need to think very critically about every single district in Greensboro and how it is ready. Our different districts, what District 1 needs and District 5 needs are different. They look different. That's okay. Those are different communities. But we need to have a concept of what that looks like and how are we going to make it better than it is today? How are we going to improve on what's there? What is missing? How are we going to deal with where the gaps are? There have been many gaps that have been talked about. Where's the growth and change going to happen, and how will we make that happen in a way that doesn't displace the people that are there today? So there is very critical work to do. It does need to be resourced, but I think if we plan it and we are focused and we articulate and we talk and we work, we can do it. But you have to take the steps.
I'm hearing the make a plan, work the plan.
Yes, you're with me.
Mantra
Yes.
surfacing.
Make the plan, work the plan.
There's a through line, people.
Yes.
Well, this has helped a lot. It sounds like what I'm hearing is, you see a vision and the underpinnings of the plan. You envision processes.
And it's not a plan. We have a lot of plans.
Right.
It's an
But
engagement, like a
playbook,
strategic,
roadmap.
we're going.
Like you can make the plan and say, my plan is to go to Texas, but
Yes.
that's not going to actually create all the logistics to get you there. You need a
Yes.
roadmap.
Yes.
And you need a playbook of where you're going to eat, and where you're going to stop, and where
Yes.
you're going to. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. I am differentiating that now. I'm glad to know the difference. But.
Yes.
Well, thanks again. I think
Yes.
we'll wrap up here.
Okay.
Again, always good to have more things to talk about for the next time.
Sounds
But
good.
thanks so much.
Thank you.